Hello and welcome. I am Giovanni Hall Art, and today I'm working on the alternate version of my Emma Frost drawing. This will be posted on my Instagram and Twitter, Blue Sky, Tumblr, and Twitch and YouTube, and the Patreon for the more exclusive stuff. Alright, let's get into it. Also, I just watching some YouTube videos in the background. This should be quick, just a little difference. It's about the tail of the coat, what nerfs her. Yeah, this is more for YouTube and Twitch and TikTok. Not TikTok. TikTok is too sensitive. All right, let's get into it.
Supersized story.
Whoa! I mean, look at this. It's going to be the biggest productions we've ever undertaken on this show.
Causing vacuum violence on a massive, unprecedented scale.
It's gotta go!
But first, some shop-sized science.
An imploding tanker car. How could this happen? Tanker cars are giant, 70 feet long, 15 feet high, thick steel casing meant to contain things like fuel, even in case of a derailment. How could something like that spontaneously implode and crush itself? Well, if it did, in fact, happen, it had to do with pressure and pressure differential. I'm getting ahead of myself. Let me show you with this metal can. If I take this thin metal can and seal it, and then hook a vacuum pump up to it and start pumping air out, we understand what will happen. It will crush itself. Whoops. But how could something like that happen without the action of an outside vacuum pump? Well, let me show you. Now I'm about to perform a critical action in this experiment, and that is to take a little bit of the hot water and pour it into the can. Because in the original myth, the tanker car had been steam cleaned inside and out. Now I'm about to initiate an implosion. First thing I do is cap the can. Now, fully capped.
Welcome to Oxio, the place where the internet truly gets you. Like how sometimes you just have to search down every rabbit hole. That you want to stream your shows, not pesky loading symbols. Or scroll to your heart's content, because culture now runs at the speed of your feed. Our internet was made to flex, to fit your online world. So if you're ready for an internet provider that finally feels like home, swing on by. We'll keep the door open. Oxio, born to be online.
In Albion, no matter where you go or what you do, your mount will accompany you on your journey. Perhaps you'll...
This vessel was full of steam and air that was heated to its boiling point. Now that air is rapidly cooling. As it's cooling, they're creating a negative pressure inside the can.
Yep, and that's the whole ballgame. A difference in pressure. Filling the container with steam pushes out the air. But if the vessel is sealed while it's still hot, and then allowed to cool, the steam condenses, and the internal pressure drops. Meaning the now much greater external pressure pushes in on the surface. And that's bad news for the can.
Oh, there we go. There we go. Oh, it's actively moving. Look at that. I'm doing this with my mind. In case you were wondering, this is all telekinesis.
Mind games aside, the scientific principle is clearly sound. Now, it's just a question of scale. Can steam cleaning produce a pressure differential that would cause a giant steel train tank to crush?
The two sides have actually met over here.
To answer that, Adam and Jamie will learn as much as they can and slowly build up to the industrial-sized mythical implosion.
Yep, it's generating some steam.
But first, does faster cooling make a difference?
Go. Burner off. Now, I want you to cool, and I want you to cool rapidly. I'm gonna use the coldest thing I know, and that is a CO2 fire extinguisher. Here we go. Woo. That was much more spectacular. Look at that. So there you have it, a little proof of concept of how a sealed vessel can crush itself with just the application of a little heat and a little cold. That sound? If ants Had a Latin rhythm section.
All right, we're getting there. This is the ultimate version.
But it's a very different thing to crush a
More
flimsy metal
spicier version.
can versus something meant to hold pressure and meant to be very durable. And I think I've got just the thing to experiment on.
We're going to ramp things up quite a bit to this 55-gallon drum, which not only has steel walls that are many times thicker, but also structurally it's much stronger because it's round and it's got these ribs. So it'll present much more of a challenge.
All right, now we just wait for it to boil.
For this first test, we're just going to heat the water up until it's boiling vigorously. Then we'll seal it up, turn off the heat, let it cool, stand back and see what happens.
Sealing it up. There we go.
Now that it's sealed, a pressure differential can develop, and the wait begins for the steam to cool and condense.
That kind of makes me nervous.
If this sturdy steel barrel collapses, confidence will be high that the full-scale tank car can also crumple.
How long did it take the little cans to crush?
Those crushed very, very quickly.
I'd imagine they're not structurally near as strong.
No. I think it's going to be one big catastrophic kind of funk. It's going to sound like hitting it with a baseball bat. Oh! What's really cool about this is we heard a couple of bings and bunks at the beginning. This is killing me. But right now, this thing hasn't made any noise in 15 minutes. But what I know is happening inside there is that it's cooling, and that steam is reverting back to water, and it's creating low pressure in there, which is pulling the sides in. They're resisting that because of their structural integrity, but at a certain point, I expect the outside casing to fail, and it should be pretty spectacular. Next time we hold the camera up with magnet. Oh!
There you go.
Wow!
You can feel that.
Woo! That was so cool.
I could feel that in my chest.
Yeah,
which
well,
is
I'm not
weird.
sure if that's just my heart leaping out of my throat because of the... That was amazing.
It was a nerve-shredding display of power. When water vapor is cooled, it can cause a strong steel drum to completely crumple.
Wow.
Made a circle into a triangle.
It did.
There's clearly a lot of potential in this one simple process.
At Bell Tire, we're out to change the entire tire business.
We actually take care of our customers.
That's what makes us different. That and our one employee that happens to be a tire.
We're not your ordinary
Hello,
tire store
welcome.
because we're changing tires. Bell Tire.
Yo, welcome. I go and
First,
stream.
they're sour.
Welcome, yeah, well,
And
this is
then
the
they're
ultimate
sweet.
version.
Sour
There'll be
Patch
another
Kids.
ultimate version on my Patreon.
And an
Yeah.
ominous sign of the full-scale potential. But Adam
Both
isn't ready to
sides.
move
Welcome
on.
to the page and
Before
my
they
channel.
can tackle the supersized tank car,
Feel free to
he
like and
wants to know
subscribe.
exactly how
More
much
stuff.
negative
Also, I'm thinking
pressure
of some more
they're dealing with.
characters. You guys should comment who you guys want to
This time
see.
we're going to do the same test again, but we're going to have a vacuum pressure gauge attached so that we can actually monitor what that pressure is. We will also be timing how long it takes to cool down and monitoring the temperature with an external thermocouple. That's a fancy way of saying thermometer. All right, it's bouncing between 193, 195. We'll be logging all of this data as this thing cools down, builds its negative pressure. Okay, timing starts now. And the vacuum gauge is already moving. That's awesome. And eventually crushes in the hopes that we'll be able to apply what we learn here to a full-size thing eventually.
Yep, and because
The only difference between screwing around and science is writing it down.
Looks good, by the way.
Adam
Thank you very
plots
much.
the
Appreciate
increase in
that.
negative pressure measured
Yeah.
in mercury
I'll be posting
Right now, it's just
the
at
finished
3 inches
artwork
of
on my
mercury.
Instagram
against time and temperature.
and Twitter.
6
Links in the
inches
bio when they're done.
G.
How much of a vacuum will crush the can is unknown. But quantifying the failure
Let's do a
point
little more
is the
touches
first
on
step
this
to
one.
understanding the process.
Look, we're not exactly sure what we're looking for in this. We're
I'm just trying to make the
get
leather have like a
understand
little
the
shine
process.
to it.
Very consistent 2.5 degrees per minute. I like linear data.
I'm partial to exponential curves myself.
So the more data we gather from this as it cools
They just
down and
gotta add that
eventually
little-
crumples, the better equipped
little
we are to deal
highlight.
with contingencies out there in the field.
It makes the skin pop.
Oh! Whoa! That was just at 16 inches of mercury.
It's interesting that they're consistently forming triangles, but it kind of makes sense because it's the strongest form that it could crush to. These implosions are fascinating. There's a slow, intense buildup of the pressure differential, and with no warning. But what did we learn? Well, it took 8 minutes for the steam to cool, which dropped the pressure to minus 16 inches of mercury. Considering that 30 inches of mercury is a full vacuum, that's significant.
Cool sounds.
And that's just from heating a little water in the drum. What happens when we introduce a high-powered steam cleaner into the equation?
Temperature's climbing fast.
Coming up on Mythbusters.
That is awesome.
Not only is this
Without a doubt, one of my favorite small-scale experiments we've ever done. Whoa!
the story is on track to be the biggest logistical challenge they've ever tackled.
Holy
Pressure vessels
Bro, I just started trying to
and
learn how to
pressure
draw
differential
stuff. That's been I hope to improve by learning new stuff. Yeah, honestly, the best way to learn how to draw
are
is just to
familiar
start
themes that
drawing.
Mythbusters hold
That's
dear
how I
to
learned.
their physics-loving
And just slowly
hearts.
take your time and go at your own pace. As long as you're having fun, that's all that matters,
And
you know?
in this one-story episode,
That's the best way to
they're
learn.
investigating a monumental implosion.
This is gonna be cool.
Can condensing steam
You just take your
really
time and have
cause
fun
a
with it.
supersized
That's all you
freight
can
train
do.
tank car to crash?
And that's the fun part of drawing.
This is great. We are gathering data, we're learning stuff, we're moving forward. Whoa! Whoa! 16
Yeah,
inches
drawing's
of mercury.
my
But
way to
the
relax
most
and
important part
escape.
about this right now is that the original
I wish I could
tanker
do
truck
more of it.
had apparently been steam cleaned prior to the implosion incident. Therefore, we're going to move on to another 55-gallon drum, but this time we're dispensing with the burner and the boiling water.
Great way
We're
to
going to
relax.
steam clean it in advance.
Okay, here we go.
Go for it. We're going to try and get its temperature up 150. And a lot of steam in there before we cap it and see if we can initiate another crushing incident. 170. Temperature's climbing fast.
Will the high-pressure steam cleaner make a difference?
All right. Sealing at 203.
It seems so.
I can't
This crucial
find where
component
that.
of the mythical mishap has
Where's that
raised
come
the
from?
starting temperature
Oh,
by 10
that
degrees.
layer. I'm just trying. I have so much layers.
Consequently, it's
I'm trying to
taking
find
longer
where.
for the steam to cool
There's a different
and
version where it
condense.
has like the
So much
coat tail.
tension.
This
And
one
the
doesn't have the
negative
coat tail. So I'm
pressure
just
to
trying to
build.
find where certain things are.
16 minutes. Whoa!
That was this layer.
That gets you
I
every
think
time.
I got everything here.
Whew, that is a heck of a
That's
rush.
perfect.
That was 17 and a half.
There was a greater pressure differential.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Block that layer.
It took twice as long to implode.
And then
And
So this
even
layer-
more violent.
that's the old one.
The world needs a broader understanding of autism.
Okay. Let's get these ads. Honestly, I really like how drawing the face. Thank you very much. Yeah, I worked on the face. I wanted to make sure I get the face good. I think it's not really a trick, but if you can get the face right and the hands, because people really focus on the face and the eyes, you can hide like a lot of mistakes if you get the face right. That's a
More
trick.
than
The
the
face
other
and the
ones.
hands.
I think we put more energy in the system with the higher temperature and the steam.
Yep, more heat means the steam has more kinetic energy, and faster water molecules create more pressure.
What layer was
Yeah,
this?
look at
So I
that.
did
Look at that. That is
multiply.
completely crushed.
So when the steam condensed in
so I
the
have to make
capped
that
container,
multiply.
the eventual pressure differential was greater,
We'll do that, duplicate that
and the
layer,
drum took even more of a beating.
multiply it.
If you fill one of these 55-gallon drums with water, they weigh over 400 pounds, so they're really quite strong. But
Was
in
it
the presence
36?
of vacuum, the
What
way
was
that
that?
we're applying it,
36, yes.
they crumple like a soda can in your hands. So it gives you an idea of what kind of forces are at play here.
36%
this out.
opacity.
That's the previous test. That's the current test.
Then
See
we
how
have
much
another layer
smaller
on
this one
top.
was crushed?
What was that at?
It's a lot more energy.
I'm trying to
That
focus
was
with the face
awesome.
right now as
Can I say it?
make strong.
That
Yes,
was a
it
barrel of
does.
fun.
But you should also try to
Actually,
draw
by
the
time
whole
we're done,
body
it's about
too.
a third of a barrel.
Draw everything as rough as you
Here's
can.
what I feel
Then
like
you
we
slowly
have
go in
learned
and focus
so
on things
far.
like
We
the
have
face,
learned
the
that
hands,
a
and all
higher
that stuff.
starting temperature
But
equals
honestly,
a more
studying
vigorous
anatomy helps a
reaction.
lot.
Clearly, when we
I
go
plan
to
to study
full
more
scale on
anatomy
this,
too
we're going to want the
myself.
highest
Refresh up
possible
on that.
starting
It's been a
temperature,
while.
and that
So do like a
might
deep dive.
be maybe the most difficult part of replicating.
Once you
this
know the
story.
human body
But
anatomy,
behind the scenes,
you can draw
problems are
anything,
afoot.
well, human-wise.
Keep very
And
quiet.
I
We
should
don't
study
often
more
show you this
animal
part of the
anatomy.
show, but this is where the magic happens.
Drawing,
This is
never
our
stop
production
learning.
office, and
Never
those are our
stop learning.
producers that find the impossible to find stuff that Jamie and I need to use in episodes. This is the team that has found us things like a 747,
Normal, okay, 20% opacity.
RPGs, or calling
be
the FAA to get us
20%.
permission to drop a car from a helicopter. But right now, this might very well be mission implosion impossible, but we'll give them a couple more days.
I think it's not right here.
So what is it we need exactly? Well, obviously a tank car, one that's been decommissioned and yet is still structurally sound. That's hard enough,
hold
but we
on,
also
something's
need a
not
place
right
to
here.
implode it. That implies tracks to run it on and a location remote enough that we can safely control that implosion involving millions of pounds of force and thousands of pounds of steel without hurting any people or infrastructure. And the two of those together are the reason we have never tackled this myth before.
With the production office facing long odds
Alright,
and a
that seems
short
right.
deadline,
Okay,
Jamie and
I'm
Adam
trying to
get busy
study with the
drumming up
shapes
more
right now
data.
and how that connects to muscles.
So
That's
what
actually a
else
good
do these
idea, yeah.
barrels tell us that'll help
Yeah,
us out
learn
in
the
the
muscles
field?
too.
Well, shape
Because
and
once you
geometry
know,
are
because you
critical
can't
when it
draw
comes
what you
to
don't
pressure
know.
vessels. And so
You'd be
we're gonna build a
surprised,
more
like,
accurate
you
steel
tell
version
someone
of our
to
tank
draw a
car
bird.
cylinder
They
and
draw
see
what they
difference
think in their
that
head,
gives.
but then they actually look at a bird like, whoa.
Will the
Maybe I don't know what a
elongated
bird
cylinder
actually
of
looks
an
like.
accurately scaled tank car
You can't
crush
draw what you
more
don't
or
know.
less easily? To find out, Jamie has been busy welding while Adam whips up some wooden wheels
Hold on.
Almost there.
I want to see something real
and
quick.
gets back to his special effects roots.
Ooh, there we go.
Oh, that's
Much
right.
happier
That's
with our
right.
experiments. Look the part.
Sorry about that.
Awesome. Moving ever closer to our goal of causing a fatal catastrophic implosion of a full-size tanker car,
Whoops.
we have now built
No, we're still
ourselves a
here.
scale tanker car.
I
Four
just actually minimized
55-gallon
my
steel
screen.
drums welded and
Okay.
sealed together. We're going to hit it with a steam cleaner, bring the temperature up, cap it, and see how long it takes to implode and what we can learn from that.
What we
This
want
is
to do, I want
a
to get that
very
color
full-scale
right.
experiment.
I want to sample
As
that
before,
color.
they simulate the steam cleaning process
Yeah.
Great for our skin.
until the
There we go.
temperature maxes out.
200.
Then they seal it up.
All right, capping it up.
And we're going to use
resume
my
their
favorite
nerve-wracking
brush,
wait.
Kyle's Rough Mango
Timer's
brush.
going.
Has a nice texture. I want to add more color.
Oh, you can hear it boiling.
Yeah,
Oh,
there we go.
You can totally hear it boiling. That's awesome.
That's crazy. Them
I
boys
can't
put
help but
fire.
think that this would be weaker because of the lack of any bulkheads down the length of it.
Okay. 7 minutes in, we're at 11 inches of mercury. It's gonna be like a big steel set of hands clapping.
Yeah. It might well, you know, macaroni there, but
That would be so awesome.
Yeah, they're crazy. They're playing. Whoa!
Awesome!
That's insane.
Oh, that was fantastic!
Implosions.
Oh, that was
My next drawing will be Jane Doe. Ooh, I plan to draw her too. Jane Doe is on my list too. I haven't played Zenith Zone Zero in a minute.
You were right. It
But
was
yeah, Jane Doe, the rat mommy. What they call her? Is that Jane Doe?
Welcome to Oxio,
The rat? Is
the
that the
place
rat
where you
one?
can search
Yes.
down every rabbit hole.
Yeah, she's
Stream
a
your
very
favorite
cool
shows
character.
and scroll to your heart's content with an internet provider that finally feels like
Who
home.
knew they could make a rat
Oxio,
so cool?
born to be online.
I plan to draw her next.
For the next
too.
100 days, I'm jumping into the creepy cute chaos of Once Human, The Way of Winter. Okay. Will I be able to survive the freezing?
Another spectacular
Zenith
implosion.
Zone Zero is such a good game too.
The accurately scaled form failed faster
Do you have
and
a
under less
Do you have an
pressure.
art account? Good to see some of your artwork
That's just awesome.
or
Data
your
that suggests
stuff.
this
Just all- I like
supersized
to see how
myth
things work.
is right on track.
That was awesome. I guess all we need now is a full-size tanker car.
Yeah, that'll be interesting seeing that happen to something 70 feet long,
That would be a hell of a thud.
if it happens.
Yeah. All right, let's go find one.
I think they're trying to crush a plane using an implosion.
For over a decade, the Mythbusters have traveled to incredible and expansive locations to carry out their investigations.
Good to see you. Welcome to the White House.
They've managed supersized logistical operations of massive proportions.
Ladies and gentlemen, 70,000 feet.
But in this extended, in-depth story, they're tackling the toughest of them all. Welcome to Oregon, the end of the line for the tall tale of the imploding tank car.
That sounds
After
awful.
months of prep, sweat, and fears, the team has pulled it off. It's time to stock and roll.
If it is indeed possible for a tank car to crush itself, well, then the testing of it is going to be one of the biggest productions we've ever undertaken on this show. That is the biggest steam cleaner you have ever seen. We need not only the tank car and some
I
train
might
tracks,
not
'cause
turn
that's
away
how they
from
get
the
around,
editing, but
we
I
also
know
need a
stuff.
facility where we can shut down access
Yeah,
to those
just
tracks
honestly,
for
just
safety.
post your work. Everyone got to start somewhere. The more you post, the more you get familiar with the process, and you can slowly
There's
build up
no
your
doubt about the
archive of
size
work.
of the undertaking.
And people can watch
And
you
the first
improve.
piece of this
Always
giant
post your
experimental
stuff.
pressure puzzle
You might as well.
is
Don't wait till you
bringing
think
the
you have the
heat.
perfect piece to post.
This
Start
boiler
posting
is
right
the heart
away.
of our experiment.
Then you slowly build
This
your
is a 2 million
your
BTU
following.
fire tube style boiler. Now,
There's
what's
no
in
point
here
waiting.
is a
Just
series
post
of
what you
tubes
have.
surrounded with water, and obviously is going to heat
And
up
as
that
you
water. And it's
improve,
going to create a
as
head of
you
steam
like grow and
that comes
improve,
up about here.
you can add more
And that
things
steam
and
is going to
remove
be
things,
up
but
to
it's just
around
it's got to start.
360 degrees Fahrenheit.
There's no point waiting.
That's what's going to heat up our tank car.
Everyone starts somewhere.
And here's why the steamer is
That was my
packing so
mistake. I
much
used to think,
punch.
oh, I have to make a perfect
Gotta go get
artwork
some
piece
tank cars.
or post
It
anything.
was almost impossible
And
to
I
locate.
got rid of that mindset. I
But
just
in a
started posting
coupling
stuff.
made in geek heaven,
But I
Adam
haven't
hooks
been
up with
posting
the
consistently.
supersized star
Just
of the
been
show.
busy.
I totally
But I want
get
to
the
change
whole
that.
thing about model trains. How cool is that? I had a whole bunch when I was in high school. Hello,
Yeah.
ladies.
There we go. I like that. There's one thing I want to do. I have to fix her
This
bottom.
is our
I have to
experimental
give it more
baby,
red
our
tone.
tank car. Isn't it beautiful?
It's the red
67
bottom.
feet long, 10 feet diameter. It holds almost 30,000 gallons of liquid. Unless you
Because
think
the
that the
other
shell is
version
thin, it's actually
has the
almost half an
coattail
inch
seat.
thick.
It's more
It's
modest.
the
It covers
biggest single
everything.
prop
But
ever used on Mythbusters. Weighing in
Fan
at
service.
67,000 pounds, made from cold rolled steel, it seems impossible that it could crush like a tin can. To check its interior integrity, Adam pulls the short straw.
This is not for people who don't like confined spaces. You might think that crawling into one of these tank cars is a simple matter, but they transport all manner of different fluids and liquids, which means there can be all manner of different gases in that tank car that could asphyxiate you. Oh, man. You have no idea how hot it is in here. There's an entire set of safety procedures we had to review before climbing down in there. I'm wearing a safety harness lest I become
True.
unconscious,
And yeah, I'm
so I can
planning
be
to
pulled
post
back
every
out.
piece I make since I
The
want to see
walls
that.
are
Yeah, that's how you go
101
about it.
degrees.
They post a drawing
A quick
process.
recce,
Yeah, it's
and
good.
Adam's
No,
nervous,
this is good
but
too.
satisfied.
Yeah, you know, like you said, your drawing process. But some people like to watch it process.
I'm talking quietly because this thing is a freaking echo chamber. If
And they
somebody
see
got
how you
range up
create.
there,
It's fun.
I feel like my eardrums would bleed.
I like watching people draw, seeing the process, like how do they tackle certain things, or how they do certain tricks and stuff. Not tricks, but how they do certain things. Like for example, if I'm watching someone draw and I see how they're drawing, like hair or something, it's like, oh, that's how they break it down. It's so cool to learn.
We have to make sure are totally sealed to make this work. I think that's all I need to learn down here, and because it's hot as Hades, I'm gonna get back out. See ya.
It's loud, but sound.
Let's go sample this color again.
Oh man.
I'm trying to match
To
it.
ensure they can form a pressure vessel, the
Just
team
35.
bypasses the safety features by sealing the release valves. What's next?
Remember,
That's
this
on
myth is about
multiply.
heating the tank car up, and then it happens to rain and cools it down. So this thing right here is called a monitor, and it's a spray nozzle. We're going to try to adjust the angle and the pressure in such a way, more this way, that we can get as much of an even coverage of the tank car as possible.
There we go. I just want to add more
I'm happy with that. That's a perfect
red
rainstorm.
there.
This is a giant production, and one of the key things we want to monitor is the temperature of our tank. Behind each one of these windows,
Yeah, it came
we're
out too
going to
heavy
have
there.
a thermometer. That thermometer will go to a wire, which will go out there to the tank
Alright.
car, where it will be attached to a thermocouple. Let's hook it up.
There we go. I think we're pretty much done with this
In addition to
version here.
temperature, the second crucial parameter
I think I might do some
is the internal
streaming
pressure.
This
of
is
the
officially
video
the
game.
biggest thing I've ever drilled into.
Play some
Adam plumbs the steel wall,
Marvel's
inserts
Rivals
a vacuum gauge.
after this.
We just turned this
Also,
tank car
I subbed
into an
and like
experimental
since you're
vessel.
very underrated. Oh, thank you so much. I
Prize
appreciate
for the
that.
first step
Honestly,
of the
thanks for
test.
everyone who subs and still
The
watches me.
colossal steam cleaner
Right now,
is
I'm just
fired
gonna
up,
finish posting this.
and Adam is struggling to take it all
Under
in.
actually, no, let's stay on here.
I'm having
gonna
one of those moments
show
right
you
now
how I
of
like to
rabid
edit
excitement
after,
about what
post,
is about
process
to take
it.
place. At the
After
same
having my
time,
base
it's
drawings, I'm
combined
gonna save
with
my work here.
a complete disbelief
This
about
is the
what we've got
IG
set up
Twitter
here. I mean,
version.
look at this. We've locked
The
down
top
2.5
version's more
miles of train track, a mile
conservative,
of road.
if you will,
We've got about
hotel.
35 guys and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
So we're gonna
a
save here
dozen
real quick.
trucks to
But thank you.
support
Also
the
appreciate it. Thanks for everyone who
implosion of
subs
that
and likes my
giant
work.
70-foot-long
Honestly, it means a
tanker
lot.
car. This is gonna be cool.
My goal is to hit
Hellman's
1,000 followers
garlic
on
aioli is rich,
all my social media
creamy,
platforms.
and oh so
I stream on
irresistible.
Instagram.
The Empire
Wow, I
cannot
post
win.
and stream on Instagram, Blue Sky,
Coming
Tumblr,
alive.
Twitter, TikTok,
This is do or
Twitch,
die.
YouTube, and
You're
Patreon.
thinking like a soldier. Think like a leader. And/or season 2 now.
Just gonna wait till it saves.
So this myth starts with the lonely train car that's just delivered its payload, and it's
I
sitting
think I'm
here
gonna
on
play
the
some
tracks
Marvel's
waiting
Rivals
to be
or
cleaned.
Master Duels.
The cleaning comes in
After.
the form of steam. Go ahead and open up the valve and start putting steam in the tank.
Has anyone looking at the Switch 2?
Piping hot at over
I
300
heard it's really
degrees,
hard to
its
get.
goal is to remove every last
Anyone
trace
got
of
any luck with
residue
that?
from the previous cargo. It's happening.
Yeah, it's already rising. Unfortunately, once the service guys had done their job, they closed every hatch and valve on the tank car. Something they should never have done.
This is gonna take a while.
Yeah, a lot of mass
For
to
those
heat
curious
up.
what I'm watching Mythbusters.
Even more unfortunately, it then begins to rain, and the completely sealed tank car full of highly expanded steam begins cooling rapidly, precipitously dropping the interior pressure.
And then what happens next is the whole
Alright, we
tank
saved.
car collapses in on itself.
Now, we're gonna save it as a PNG, and we open that.
We don't know, that's why we're testing it.
Actually,
but we
we're
will be
gonna move
monitoring
this over
everything
here
from
to
the safety of our
my
bunker.
tag. So I like to have the tag smaller when I post the artwork.
Well, we've been heating our
we're
tank
gonna
car
make
now for
this
about
tag
3 hours,
smaller.
and its temperature has been
So it's
steadily
underneath the
rising.
leg.
It's very close to our small-scale
better to
temperature
me.
of over 200 degrees. That's great.
Alright.
Any
Now save
minute
as a
now, we're going to
PNG.
call it. I'm going to suit up. I'll
Then
cap it,
copy
get the heck
as
out
a
of its way, and
PNG
hopefully we'll
file.
watch it crush itself.
This is the Instagram quick version.
This is it. I got to climb on top of that
And
thing.
PNG file.
Almost 210 degrees.
Save that.
Shut the top manway.
Then I shut the bottom valve.
I am so.
Adam enters the exclusion
I
zone
am
alone
so. The
and
Switch
climbs
2.
the boiling
Heard
hot
every game is
steel.
digital, but I like physical game. I'm a very yeah. I like physical games too. From my
He has to be
understanding,
fast and
the
careful
situation.
while
Let's
he
go pause the
creates
video for a second. My understanding from the situation is that Nintendo's first party games will all be physical, but a lot of the games I'm seeing and hearing about right now have game card keys, which means the full game's not in the cartridge, the cartridge. So yeah, if I'm paying that much money for a game, I want to have the actual playable game on the cartridge. But you know, everything's moving to more digital. I guess I can let it slide for digital for a handheld, but I really want to have the game on the cartridge so I know that I own it. So let's say Nintendo server shut down, I at least have a playable version of the game on the cartridge and not relying on downloading the rest from the internet. That's the only thing with sucks, but you know, these game files are so big. But the thing is, I don't understand why. If the game could fit, well, I guess if you're a third party, you're working with Nintendo, you have to pay Nintendo for the cartridge, which is like, I heard $15. Then they have to be able to make sure it all fits on there. And then they have to ship the games and make it available, be sold in stores. I guess their profit margins are being cut. I guess the option is to make it digital, where they pay less to Nintendo, or they give you a game card key where they buy a cheaper version of the cartridge and they can get more money. That's my understanding. But if I have the option to buy physical, I will always buy physical. At least with the game card keys, you can technically sell the game, resell it. So yeah, I guess that's an option. But if you just have the digital code, you can't resell that at all.
8-ton pressure vessel.
Yeah, it's interesting times. Alright, let me load up this file here.
Closing the valve now.
Load the PNG.
Valve is closed. I am de-assing the area.
Open.
Mission accomplished.
Photoshop.
It's capped, and the countdown to catastrophe begins.
That went smoothly.
Save
Once I get back in the
copy.
bunker, it's gonna be time to make it rain.
Yep,
Alright,
when
for
things
this,
cool
we're gonna go
down,
to image.
everything is right on track.
We're gonna do
for the
autocolor.
mythical implosion.
All right, fire
Did I do
department, let's
anything?
make it rain. Copy, making it rain. Looks like is it hitting it?
Autotone is nice.
It's hitting
Yeah,
on
I
the
completely
far
agree with
side.
you.
I
But I
think it
might
must
buy
have
the
gotten
Switch 2
buzzed
anyways for
because
their
there's
next
no wind.
Fire Emblem game.
So our
You
water
know what?
isn't fully hitting
I wouldn't
the
mind
tank
getting the
pump.
Switch
I'm gonna
2
go adjust
because
it a
I
little
missed
bit.
out on the Switch 1.
This experiment
And
is
I'm
proving
so
to be
happy
not just the
they made the Switch 2 backwards compatible. So in the meantime, I'll probably play Switch 1 games I haven't played at all. And then I'll buy the games that I actually really want. Yeah, it'd be nice to play Pokemon. And I want to play those Zelda games, they look pretty cool. But yeah, it's an interesting time with gaming. I feel like this is gonna be like the last generation of physical games because everyone's gonna go digital. And if PlayStation or Xbox makes a fully digital system, their new system, honestly, I don't want to hear about nothing about no new system from PlayStation or Xbox because I feel like they haven't really made any games. Both of them. A lot of third parties made games for them, but I feel like this generation was weak for games. That's just me.
biggest, but also one of the trickiest.
And they're already talking about PS6. I'm like, I don't want to hear about that. Make games for the PS5 that I have already, like first party games. And so there's only like a handful, because most of the games they made were cross platform for the PS4 too. So it's like, did you really need a PS5? Only like 3 games I can think of that are PS5 exclusive. What was that? Stellar Blade? Was Ragnarok for PS5 and PS4? God of War? And Spider-Man. Spider-Man 2. Those were the only games I can remember first party for PlayStation that were exclusive for PS5. And Ratchet and Clank. Like, this year, honestly, if you had a PS4 Pro, you didn't need a PS5 at this point. Anyways, that's just me ranting. I was so excited when I got the PS5, like, oh, all these new games, it'll be so great. And now, I have the PS5, they made the Pro. I'm like, really? Yeah, it's a little sour.
This is the kind of thing that we don't
I'll
want to
stop
happen.
ranting.
We
Back
want
to
to see
this
this
artwork.
tank collapse, and if anything is wrong, that means we have to get close to the tank to fix it, and that's bad.
Better from my end, Jamie. How about you?
Okay.
Works for me. Check the kinks in the hose behind you.
Hose looks good.
Yeah.
Adam
Otter.
completes the readjustment, and back at mission control, they're all set for catastrophe.
Oh, perfect.
I like the vibrancy there. I do. No, it makes her too
This
tan.
is you. Wait, no. This is
Because she's
you.
ice
You
queen, so
wanna
we're gonna keep it that
conquer the
far. I don't want
world
too
of
dark.
Albion?
Alright.
Here's what you
So
have
we're gonna
to do.
save that
Craft a pickaxe, gather some more, smelt the
as
ore, make a set of
is.
armor, craft it. Huh? No, now's not the time for fishing. Go and craft a sword already. Now that you're all geared up, find a dungeon, kill the boss, get some loot, go to the city, enlist into a faction, conquer an outpost. Well, stop petting your enemy's wolf. Get back into the fight. You might learn some discipline by joining that guild. Follow the
Yeah.
orders of the wise
They're
and noble
pumping
guild
out
leader.
PS5,
Perhaps it's
they're
better to
pumping out the
create your own
PS consoles so
Recruit players,
fast,
go
where
into
it's
the
like,
outlands, recruit more players, build a hideout,
yeah,
recruit
yeah,
more players,
exactly. They're
prepare
trying to let
everyone
those
for
run for a
battle,
bit.
and conquer a castle.
It's crazy.
See? It's that simple. Now go out there, brave warrior, and conquer the world. Ooh, I suppose it wasn't meant to be. But perhaps you, loyal viewer, will do better.
Come on,
So
one
download
moment
today
here.
and conquer the world of Albion Online.
I think the Photoshop. I'm gonna try something here real quick. Okay, there we go. Alright,
It's been a
Photoshop.
monumental effort,
Okay, we're good. Froze for a
All
bit.
right, fire
Okay.
department, let's make it rain.
but the team finally has all the many parts of
But
this
yeah, I
mythical
feel like, yeah,
freight train
exactly.
mishap in place.
Nintendo at least let the
Cue the physics.
Switch,
5 inches of
you
mercury.
know, had time to grow. But then again, they dragged it on
6.
pretty long. But, you know, we'll see.
Climbing steadily, that's what we wanted to see.
The rain
But
cools
you
the
know
steam.
what? I'm starting to understand
The
why
steam
people say
inside
that
begins to condense.
PC is the best, because, you know, you don't have to run those issues and all that stuff. Like, I still like console gaming. And I think the cool thing about Switch, what I always liked, 'cause like, growing up, I was like a handheld gamer. Like, commuted a lot for school and all that stuff. Stuff like, you know, your Game Boy Advance SPs and all that stuff. PlayStation, Vitas. I was into those things. It was portable. I really like the portable aspect of things.
And the negative pressure rises.
That is climbing a lot faster than our small scale.
Alright, I'm gonna add a
Small
texture.
scale car
I like to
crashed
add
11
noise to
inches.
my
The
drawing.
single oil drum at
This gives it a
17,
nice
but a full
grainy
scale
texture,
tank car
which I really
implosion
like.
has
It
never
fits my
been
aesthetic. I don't know if you
recorded.
can see
The
it
Mythbusters
on
are
here
once
that well,
again in
but
unknown
when you do like when you
scientific
print the
territory.
artwork off, it looks really awesome. It just gives it a nice texture
Oh,
feel.
I'm psyched.
And that's it.
The pressure differential.
Oh, I know I
13.
forgot to do.
Means there is
it's
already
okay.
more than 1.5 million
I like this
pounds
version.
of pressure pushing on the exterior surface.
No, I'm not supposed to
Man,
save on
makes
that
me
layer.
nervous. That thing's so friggin' big.
I know.
And it keeps on
Just
rising.
kind of undo that.
17 and a half.
I saved on the wrong file.
We've now
Yeah,
exceeded
they're
our
pumping
small
out-
scale pressures.
It's ramping up,
Well, I'm gonna
just
do
like the
that.
suspense.
Come on, baby.
19 and a half.
And the tension.
21.
Wow.
File save. Then I'm gonna save it as a noise.
Man.
Save it as a different version.
Nerve-wracking.
It is, and I know that like the moment I
Now,
blink, it's
filter.
gonna happen.
23.
Damn.
Add noise. Now save as
25 and a half.
noise. Okay.
Holy.
Alright, I'm gonna post these online soon, so
15
I
minutes
think I'm
after
gonna end
sealing
my
in the
stream
steam,
here.
the negative internal pressure is
Hope you guys
almost
like it.
as low as it can
And let me
possibly
know in the
go.
comment section
26
guys wanna see me
and
draw
a
nuts.
quarter degrees is
from any
almost a full
franchise.
vacuum. That occurs at just under
Just some
30
ideas.
inches of mercury.
Yeah. And that is
still,
Emma
there's
Frost.
no sign of an implosion.
Alright.
Why they make these things tough?
It was great talking to you guys. Thank you for subscribing. I am Giovanni Hall Art. If you'd like me to see you, feel free to like and subscribe. You can follow me on Instagram, Tumblr, Blue Sky, Twitter, TikTok, Twitch, YouTube, and Patreon for more exclusive stuff. Alright, links are in the bio. Have a good one. Bye! Thank you so much, everybody. And Random Game Legends, you're awesome.